Welcome to Not What I Thought. I'm Erika.
I'm Yolanda.
And I'm Becca. We're therapists, entrepreneurs, and perfectly imperfect humans.
We first met during a business owner retreat where we became fast friends because we're not afraid to be real and ask the hard questions about life. What we thought it would be like, how messy it actually is, and the courage it takes to create the life we want.
We continue to build our friendship and personal growth through our own retreats. We find the deepest connection in sharing our struggles and finding what we have in common rather than what divides us.
We're breaking down hard topics on our podcast and together have conversations about what it takes to find real talk, real support, and real rest for professional women. We're glad you're here. Join us on your favorite podcast platform.
All right. So today I wanted to talk about something I did not think was ever going to happen. My husband and I got into a huge, big blowout fight over $2 on makeup wipes.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
20 years in, didn't think that was going to be the thing.
But my mind is just scrolling through all of the ridiculous fights that we've had too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it happens.
Yeah. Oh, for real.
In fact, I think some of the biggest fights people have are over
Or the little
things like that,
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah. So what happened?
So he always makes our list for the groceries to do the pickup thing. And he knows which makeup wipes I like, but he wants to always get the cheaper option of pretty much whatever it is, which that's one of the few things that I'm
You're like, this is a calculated decision.
Thing.
Yes. I have chosen these makeup wipes intentionally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the ones I want. Which we've had that conversation many times. For some reason on this day, he was putting in the groceries and he was like, but look, this one's on sale. I was like, that's not the one I want. Can you get the one that I want? That's great. That one's on sale. That's still not the one that I want. Because we've had this conversation about 5,000 times. And just the resistance I felt in that moment was when I and then, I reacted and that's what started the thing.
Yeah. And how did it end?
I think you're still together.
Well,
still
yeah,
together.
that part, yes.
We survived.
Yes, that part, yes. But I mean, did you end up getting your wife, the one
Yes.
that
Yes.
And what happened to the other ones?
Oh, he just took them off the list.
Oh, okay.
I was like, take those off. But of course there was the threat of, you know what? If you can't do what I want you to do for me, then I'll just go to the store myself.
I can go
buy
to the store
them.
myself.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. And then there was that's not necessary kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it seems necessary.
You're like, game on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel like there's always those things, in marriages that cause these big fights that you're like, what the hell are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Right.
Right. And I know we go into marriage maybe thinking that the things we're going to have the big fights about are
the big topics.
Money or where we're going to live or
how to raise the kids,
or whatever. And then you end up having a giant old argument about makeup wipes.
Yeah.
What the heck is
what
this?
is happening?
We got this parenting thing on lock.
Right.
But this $2 is what's going to do it.
Yeah, this is what's going to do it. Yeah. It makes me think of that video. It's not about the nail. It's an older video.
Right.
Have both of you seen it?
I haven't.
Oh my
God.
Right. But so I'm thinking, we blew up over so many different things.
Right.
Like a Snickers wrapper in the trash can.
Snickergate.
The Snickergate, the great Snickergate. I'm like, how could you eat the Snickers without me? And why are you folding the towels that way? The most ridiculous. And in the middle of it, there's a little part of my brain that's like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
We're grown ass adults here. Why are we doing this? And then there's another part of me that's like, clearly you don't know how to fold the towels. What is wrong with you?
And how many times did you explain the towel folding?
I mean, there's a right way to fold the towels, and there's not right way to fold the towels.
We'll need a demonstration.
Yeah, if you can show us later
Yes.
at your house.
So I love that we're all together today. And actually there was a folding of the towels yesterday, and Erika was like, I was observing to see.
Observing.
And I've gotten over it. I've just gotten over it.
Yeah.
I've been like, is that worth it?
Right.
But it took a while.
Yeah. It's, I think, what those things are symbolic of, which is that, because you said when you're right in the middle of it, there's a part of you that's like, really, we're doing this, we're having this argument over whatever, but like, yes, we are, because it's not about the makeup wipes and it's not about the Snickers wrapper, it's about whatever the like bigger theme or bigger concept is that just happens to be playing out in this
daily interaction, small thing.
I have a mentor who says like those are the things that we argue about are like the French fries that get you to the ketchup. Those are the French fries that you dip in the ketchup, which is the bigger underlying, like the meaning of it that's underneath it.
Yeah.
But like in that moment it's hard to like tease those things out. They all feel so interconnected.
Right. Yeah, for me, it was silverware. Which silverware we were using.
So what was the deal with the spoons?
So the spoon thing for me, when we first got married, I had a full set of like a set of 8 silverware thing that I liked. And I don't recall anymore why, if my husband didn't like it or what. I honestly can't remember why we didn't use it, but we took my set and like set it aside, and that was the one that we used when people came over. But then our like everyday set, he had a set of 4 that he liked that had these really big spoons, and I have a very small narrow mouth, and so I never liked eating out of these spoons. It was like eating out of a shovel. It was really uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. I couldn't. It was like a serving spoon, right? Like a child. Like it was really uncomfortable for me. Wow. And then a family member gave us as a gift another set of 4
of those
of the same.
No.
A different set. So now you have 3 sets.
So now I have 3 sets.
Okay.
Right. So this set of 4, I didn't like the pattern, and I had wanted to return it. It was one of my family members. And my husband was like, but it was a gift from family, we can't return it. And that was some of his family story. And we were newly married and young, and I was kind of naive enough to not know that I could push back and be like, no, let's not do this. So for 13 years, maybe, we lived with a mismatched set, the shovel ones that I couldn't use, and the ugly ones that I hated.
And yours were still the ones that you liked were still in the drawer.
Are still sitting in the drawer that only come out for
special occasions.
Special occasions, right?
I'm also thinking something like silverware that you're literally using every single day. You're like these reminders.
Day I'm using these, right? That I just and sometimes you just don't notice, and then there would be times I'd be like, "Why are we doing this? I hate this," you know. And then we're nearing the end of the marriage. And he and I were in a place where we were really seeing like, can we make this work? And so I think we were talking about a lot of parts of the marriage in a different way and kind of revisiting stuff and whatever. And I brought up the silverware. I was like, can we please like do something about this? Because we've been living like this for so long. Right? And he was like, yeah, I guess, but we can't use the set that you already have. He wanted me to pick a new something new. And so I recall like, I don't know, being at Costco or something and like taking pictures of a couple of sets. And what do you think about this? And he said no to everything. He didn't like any of them. And I said, okay, well then you do the work because at that point I'm kind of frustrated about like, you're not working with me on this thing. So if you want a different thing, then how about you do the work to pick out a new set, which of course he didn't do. And then he went on an extended trip with his family, and while he was gone, I was like, you know what, I am switching the silverware. So I took the 2 mismatched set and put them in the drawer and put my set out. And there was a part of me that's like, why have we been doing this for all of this time? Right. And then he comes back from the trip and goes over and gets his shovel spoon and uses it and then puts it, does the dishes or whatever. And all I recall was that I opened the drawer and there's my nice my set that I
Your
like
set.
of 8 and one of the shovel spoons in there. And I was like, I lost it. Are you kidding me? And this is what I'm saying, this outside reaction, it's a spoon.
Right. Yeah.
But to me, it was this symbol of like, I accommodated you and your preferences on this thing for over a decade. And you can't do the same for me for even like one day. And the thing that like, you won't work with me on any of the
That's what I was
other,
thinking, or compromise.
or do your part to fix this thing that doesn't work for me. He was fine with it because he liked the shovel spoons. And I guess it didn't bother him that we used every day a mismatched set, but it bothered me. And there was this part of that to me, that shovel spoon in the drawer was like, you don't care. You don't care to try to make things work for me. And of course, it's not just the spoons, right? Like that was part of a larger pattern of what it felt like for me to be in the relationship, that I do this work. Not that I did all of the work to make the relationship work or anything, but I felt like there was this pattern that I can be kind to you and work around you, and that I don't see the same back. And so, yeah, there's this huge reaction to like, no,
I am important.
I am.
You will hear me.
Yes. And now I live on my own, and I have my set that
your set that you love.
That I love.
Yeah. And you use it.
And it matches.
And I use it every day, and all 8 of the spoons match.
Yeah.
To your best life.
Yes. And but it's those, little things. And not to boil down the reasons that the marriage didn't work to spoons, but like that's how those little things are symbolic, representative of the bigger patterns.
Yeah, it's not just about the spoons. It's not.
Spoons, Snickers, makeup wipes.
No.
Toilet paper on the roll, whatever
Whatever the thing is.
Whatever the fry is in the ketchup.
Yes. If there's anything I think to take away from like, you two have these stories, right, where you're able to talk to your partner and work with it. And my story has a different outcome in terms of the way that my partner and I could or couldn't work together. And I really don't want to be in a place where I'm like complaining all the time about why, this is his fault, right? But like, if I had any sort of takeaway, it's that I hope that as a partner, I'm a person who will pay attention to, okay, tell me what you don't like about the spoons. This isn't the first time you brought it up. Like, can we work with it? Because there could be those things building up over years that I think, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just makeup wipes. It's just a Snickers. It's just this. But if those are the things that build the bigger pattern that lets you know either that your partner cares for you and values your opinion and your comfort, or they don't.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
And like, I can recognize that I am having an outsized reaction to what is happening here. But the thing is like symbolic of, more than a decade worth of, I feel like you don't value my comfort. I feel like your needs always come first. And so it's all of that energy that comes out in, are you effing kidding me about which spoon is in the drawer right now?
And it must be this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what triggers each of us, or really everybody, our clients or people who we've talked to, our friends, right?
Right.
I know in the makeup wipe story, really for me, it was that in my family of origin, I feel like I always needed to be quiet about what I needed. If I voiced what I needed, it really wasn't going to be met anyway. So in my marriage, I tried to practice being clear, being assertive about the things that I want or need. And when that feels like it was constant, this one's cheaper, this one's over here, this one, over time, it's like, I'm telling you what I need.
Right.
And you're just not getting it.
Right. So for you, the thing isn't about saving the $2 and why can't we just try this other thing? It's all of the stuff that you bring from childhood where you're like, no, it actually matters to me that you hear my need and that you respect it. Right. And that my need is met. And that is way more important to me than the $2 we would save on buying the brand. Exactly. Yeah. Well, but then you can, the whichever the person is who's having that big reaction, then maybe you look like you're being ridiculous,
unreasonable.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah,
do we
why
really
are
have
you
to go
making
there?
such a big deal about it? And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
because this thing
This is the thing.
is
Like,
so much more important to me than the
Yeah.
$2 that we would say.
Well,
Exactly.
and it's interesting because as we're talking about this, I'm noticing for me, like, and the effort that it's taken me to get to this point where I'm able to voice my need, or where I do voice
Yes.
my need.
Like there's already been work around
that's
that.
a lot. That's already been a lot. And now I'm getting pushback,
Right.
and it's like, oh, what's
Mhm.
happening? What's happening? For me, I think the towels are like a safety. Like, if you do things the right way, then everything's okay and everything's safe.
You're in control.
I'm in control. There's some order and control, right? In the chaos of life. And yeah, I mean, like, as I'm sitting here in my kind of, integrated self, I can realize the falsehood of that. But in that moment, I'm like, really? Because now we're going to put these in the linen closet, and it's going to be messy and unorganized and chaotic. And chaos is like, chaos is just not safe, right? But I didn't know that when I was upset about the towels.
You just knew that it's not getting done right, and I need you to do it right.
Right.
What do you think, knowing what you know now, what you
Yeah.
just said about being your like full integrated self,
Yeah.
like if you could go back and explain why the towels matter, what would you say?
Yeah. Hopefully something along the lines of what I just said, right? Like, I know that there's a part of me that is really searching for safety in the midst of chaos, right? And like yesterday, there are other times that I don't care. Like, really, it's a towel, and it's not. It doesn't make the world safe to have it folded, halfway and then 3 folds, right? It just, that's ridiculous. And also, for whatever reason in that moment, that's what that part of me was like grasping at. That it was just like, that is somehow going to give me some sense of safety.
Yeah. I think there's one way this goes, that you say what you did today, and you know what, the towel is actually not going to bring safety into my world, and so I'm going to choose to let it go and not hound my partner about how he folds the towels.
Right.
And I think there's another way that it could go that's equally valid, where you sit down with your partner and you say, I know that it's just a towel, and like there is a part of me that knows that is insignificant,
right?
And also,
right,
I came from so much chaos,
right?
There's this part that like, it matters to me that I open the linen closet and everything looks organized,
right.
And so could you please do this for me, because I don't like feeling that sense of internal chaos. And I recognize that it's not entirely logical, but could you please do this for me?
Like, this is a quirk, but it will help me.
Yes, but could you accommodate me in this way? Right.
And also, I have come to a point, and we're about to celebrate 28 years of marriage, and we've been together for 34, it's 33 years. Sorry, I can't do math. But and then so I'm at a point also that I'm like, if it matters that much to me, then I need to say, like, I'll take care of folding the towels.
Right, which is the third way it could go.
Which is another way that it could go. Like, this is really important to me, and I know that it's not to you, and I respect that, and that's fine. And
leave the towels for me.
Right. We can trade off some other, chores and duties and whatever. But what's come since this blow up with the makeup wipes between, like, how has it not been an issue? Has it?
It hasn't been anymore, because we were able to get to, I think, the conversation that you're talking about.
Specifically about the makeup wipes that allowed you afterwards to have
after it was like,
you're like, what just happened?
Let's zoom out from this.
Let's go to the balcony.
And kind of, looking at it, it's like, okay, because obviously first thought, especially therapist wise, okay, it's clearly this is not about the makeup wipes. Like, and I think most people generally know that, right? And so then it's kind of, okay, well then what's going on? Almost like using it as data. Okay, there's something.
There's something.
This is not proportionate or not in alignment, and so it does cause that kind of space in the brain, right? Like cognitive dissonance of things don't equal. And so then there was some reflection, like, okay, what is this about? And then just kind of tracing it back and trying not to get too agitated along the way, which is something I have a hard time with.
Mhm.
Like, remember when I asked you 57,000 times?
Right.
Like, no.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I've asked for this,
Right.
and it's still not happening, and
Right.
that's why I'm getting upset.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
That's the reason. And so after I think voicing that, then it finally clicked. Oh,
Mhm.
this is just a thing that you want,
Mhm.
and like what I think about it, if it works, if it doesn't work, if it's cheaper, if
Mhm.
it's at this
Mhm.
store, not at the store, this is what you're asking for, and I can do that for you.
Mhm. Good. It's complicated.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it took me a while to do that perspective taking piece. Right. Because for a long time I was just like in the middle of, well, he's not doing it the way I'm asking to because he's an ass. And because he's got these deep character flaws,
Right.
you know, about not knowing how to fold a towel. Like, what's so hard here?
Yeah.
So some adaptive child.
Right, a little bit.
stuff.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to say, like, I don't know that it is intuitive for a lot of us, right? To go like, oh wait, this reaction seems to be much bigger than what warrants in this situation, right? Like Snickergate, I was like, there's the Snickers wrapper in the trash can, and really that ketchup, you know, that the fry we're dipping the ketchup in was like, we have this ritual of like when we are hiking together, like after we've accomplished this big hike and this big, you know, like we spend time together and it's challenging and like all of that, and we'll celebrate by eating a Snickers bar. And in that particular case, like I was tired and went to bed before we had Snickers, but he went ahead and had the Snickers bar. And I felt so betrayed. I was like, how can you eat the Snickers bar without me?
Yeah, it's a ritual.
It's a ritual.
Can't do the ritual without me.
And he was like, you went to bed. I didn't want to bother you.
And I think again, in the talking about it in the aftermath,
Yeah.
it gives you an opportunity to say, yeah, I didn't realize how much this thing mattered to me.
I didn't.
Right. And for
Yeah.
your partner to know, oh, I just thought it was about eating the Snickers, but now that I know
Right.
that it's part of this connecting thing that we do together, then of course I'm not going to do the connecting thing without you because it's pointless if you're not there.
Yeah.
But like, we didn't know that that's what it meant.
Yeah. I think there's so much to what you just said. Like so many times it catches you off guard, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't know it was such a big thing until it was a big thing.
Well, you're not yourself if you're hungry.
That's right. Could have used a Snickers bar.
Could have used a Snickers bar.
That's right. Yeah. So what does your heart know about these conflicts that we get into?
Well, my heart knows that it's really important to have our needs heard, to be seen by a partner. I think to do a bit of exploration. I think curiosity with our partner is helpful in being curious about ourselves. Why are we feeling this? And if I'm able to share that, then I can be seen.
My heart knows that there is no reaction that is irrational, right? There's no reaction that is like an overreaction. It could be that the size of my reaction seems big for the situation, but I think when we look back and we can connect it to these other things, the bigger story, what the little thing symbolizes, then it's like, oh yeah, that reaction makes sense. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice when we describe our own reactions or our partners. It's like, oh, you're just being dramatic, or why am I why are you making such a big deal out of something that's like, no, we need to be curious about, okay, I'm going to presume that this is a big deal for a reason and figure out what that is instead of dismissing my experience or my partner's experience, because it could just as well, when we were sharing stories about when we had a big reaction, but it could just as well be our partner, and we go, why are you making such a big deal?
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. My heart knows that I can work through conflict with my partner without losing our relationship and without losing the connection, because of that like chaos and like that framework that my system is working so hard to navigate through, or to keep me safe from. A lot of times, I think in a lot of relationships, we view conflict as like such a bad thing.
Mm.
And like working through conflict with curiosity and with, being willing to have conversations, that actually is like the foundation, the building for trust. Like there's no such thing as relationship without conflict. I mean, you might be shoving it down and like not addressing it, but there's, so it can be actually such a gift to understand ourselves and our partners even more. Yeah. And I'm so excited that we're like in the same space. Yeah. Like this is the best thing ever. Yeah. So thanks for joining us, everybody.